I understand that government has the responsibility, duty, in fact, obligation to provide security, provide adequate health care, provide water, provide housing, provide good roads, and provide a guaranteed economic system where there is empowerment, where trade and productivity is encouraged, where the young generation are encouraged to grow into productive adults. All of these things are, and more, are the duties of government. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, we have been afflicted by a leadership that has never understood their role. And as I've said in the past, where purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. So where you are holding an office and you don't really know what you are meant to discharge in that office, what you are meant to achieve, the likelihood of you abusing your power is very high. And this is what we have experienced administration after administration in Nigeria. You see, it is difficult if you have a leader who never went to school. It's difficult to expect that leader to encourage education, to want to do everything to make sure that education is valued, that those who are engaged in the educational process get all the encouragement that they need, that they deserve, that they ask for, to make sure that standards are improved in our institutions. If you have a president, a governor, whatever, where you have a majority of them that have been through this system of education, they will treasure it. But unfortunately, we've had leadership from time of independence where, even today, we are still debating whether some leaders who say they want to lead us, whether they have certificates. How can we, at this point in time, still be debating whether a leader has primary 6 certificate, whether they went to secondary school, whether whether the certificates they are presenting are from credible universities? We should be beyond this. It's a disgrace that anybody who is vying for such an important role will be debating about. You see, what people have to understand is not the certificate itself. It is the honesty quotient involved in agreeing whether or not you have a certificate. It's not the paper certificate that bothers me. It is the fact that you are not honest about your credentials, about your capacity, about your past, about your history. The fact that we don't know how people's wealth has been earned. We don't know how they came about all the wealth they have today. All of these things point to dishonesty. And when you start to condone dishonesty and you are going out and shouting that, oh, this person must be your president, this person must be your governor, but his honesty and integrity is always in doubt, then you are going to have trouble. You are going to have problems. So I think Nigeria has grown enough to have candidates who seek office that are reputable, whose integrity is beyond doubt. I think Nigeria deserves to have better people vying for these positions. And I think this is where the disgrace and the sadness for me comes in, is that, those who seek to represent us are dodgy. They are dodgy. They can't convince us, as to their effectiveness. Let me make the analogy again. You have an artisan, a carpenter who comes to make your furniture, and you give him a hammer, and he's asking you, what is this for? I think at that point, you should not let that carpenter near any of your furniture. You give him a hammer, and he's asking you, what is a hammer? What is it used for? A basic tool. So when you have somebody who's now, wants to represent you in such an important position where lives are affected, and they cannot even be honest about who they are, I think it's suicide. is suicide. So for me, I think that if Nigeria wants to move forward, the average Nigerian, the average man on the street, needs to become more politically aware. The average man and woman on the streets needs to be a political player. They need to register to vote. You know, this campaign about getting your PVCs has been very, very well received by Nigerians, because I think we're becoming aware of the fact that sitting at home and saying, well, no, I won't go and vote because, nothing will happen. The results will not be properly announced, blah, blah, blah. You, first of all, go out in the field, represent yourself, cast your vote, make a difference, rather than staying at home and complaining. So I think the votes that are going to come out in 2023, this election, is going to be unprecedented. It's going to be unprecedented. And that's a very good thing for Nigeria, because we are all becoming politicians now. Everybody is concerned about their well-being and as to what they deserve from politics and governance. You know, so for me, I think this is a very welcome situation in Nigeria, where the level of political awareness amongst the masses is very high. And I wish Nigeria all the luck.
Thank you for that. And that is what the people must do. We must not only vote, but also guide it, also protect it. You know, one person once said something. I was much smaller then in Nigeria, and he said that public property is nobody's property. But even as small as I was, it doesn't make sense to me, because I understand public to be a combination of individuals that make up the public. Because if we say public property or public interest is nobody's interest, then we don't even have anything at the end of the day. Because when they say, now you go do it, now you go do it, because now you involved. Now your country will they talk about.
Exactly.
If not be you, not be me, who go do it? So I think we need to look at the Nigerian problem as our personal problem. Because you might think that it doesn't affect you right now, but it affects you in the future. It might not affect you directly, but it affects people that look like you. This country, all of us have a stake in it. If it fails, all of us have failed. If it succeeds, we have also succeeded. So nobody is an innocent to say, nobody is exempted to say, okay, I'm going to stay in my little hole. I'm not a politician. No, don't do that. You cannot, that is too risky. All right. Yesterday, I was interviewing a guy in US. He's a political analyst. He also followed Nigeria very well. And we were reflecting about the ASU strike, for example. And I remember, as I was growing up in Nigeria, this is something that had been happening since then, of Nigerian students going out to protest. The Nigerian lecturers are not paid well. The institutions are not well equipped. Upon this, they continue to load the Nigerian student with ideas, with hypotheses that are never going to be applied in Nigeria. And now you see a lot of graduates who cannot find work because they have been educated to become like mini slaves for other people. That is not supposed to be the role of the education. Again, it goes back to the vision. Where are we going as a country? Do we need a certain amount of doctor? Of what qualification do we need from them? Do we need engineer? What are they supposed to do by the time they leave universities? What kind of research are they supposed to do? What are our labs? Is it comparable to other labs in the world? Do they have access to the material they need to be able to study? Or is it enough to just continue to teach them things of the 100 years ago? At the end of the day, we say we now have graduates. Graduates of what? So the guy was saying that the Nigerian elite do not care about the educational system because they don't want enlightened people. They want mumu that they can continue to mago everywhere. In Nigeria, we have bastardized the educational system. They have removed history from school. That is the greatest crime a government can commit against its people, that they don't need to study history anymore. Of what justification? If we don't know history anymore, it means the land under which we are sitting is on a hole because we don't have a footing. So, anyway, now, What is the Nigerian people expecting from Labour Party? Because it is something new. It is something, a new perspective. What are they expecting from the party?
We are talking about the people's expectations from the Labour Party. I think the Labour Party at this time is a hope party. It gives us the hope that Nigeria will once again return to its past glory. Having tried the other two major political parties, the PDP and the APC, the Labour Party now presents a third force, an alternative to the usual, which everybody now is fed up with.